guys, it's me. I'm back again. Haven't been doing a video for a little minute here. Again, busy with work and life and all of these other things, and of course, just basically living and just trying to survive day to day. But anyway, I'm glad to be back here, getting ready to do another video for you guys here, and it actually wanted to talk to you guys about some issues here that is just troubling, and that I feel that it's really necessary that it's time that we talk about pretty much the state of our youth, and a lot of things that we're actually seeing here on social media and, just on television and in our own communities, live and up close and personal, as far as the dealings with, how troublesome our youth have become, and the fact about it that, we just don't understand how in the world these type of things can happen, and why would any of our youth choose to do the things that they do, For the most part, we've been actually, again, seeing and witnessing a whole bunch of stuff as far as, our youth doing and acting and just behaving in ways that is really unbecoming of, the typical youth. And the sad part about it is that, I never thought that, I would live to see the day where, it's like you can't even really go out to really enjoy yourself, or actually just go out and just have a walk in your neighborhoods and communities out of fear that, someone is going to actually do something, or some troubled person, mainly most of the time the youth, is going to try to, cause some sort of a crime, that sort of thing. And, for the most part, the issue is that, and I think what's going on here is that, the youth now is just, they're out of control. It's like there's no taming them, if you will. And basically, when you try to steer them to say or actually act and do the right things, for the most part, it goes into one ear and out the other. We all see this every day. And, and for the most part, it can these type of things can be contributed to, issues with, peer pressure and everything else, out there, wanting to fit in, and all of this, that, and the other, and such like that. And the sad part about it, again, and the Bible reminds us all of the time that we're not actually experiencing anything new, meaning that there's nothing new under the sun, and that, it's like history repeating itself. The only thing we see is that it's just going on and happening to a different generation, for the most part. So, it's not really all that surprising to me that, these type of crimes are happening, but it's just the fact about it is that at the rate that is happening, meaning almost every day, you're actually hearing about somebody, doing something crazy, such as, like I say, going into a Walmart or whatever the case may be, and wanting to just do harm to other people, and really for the sake, and really they don't have a really good reason for wanting to do it other than actually wanting to make a name for themselves. And the sad part about this whole thing is that this is actually happening now to a lot younger generation, and a lot of people, are puzzled by it and actually scared. And when I actually did my research, and wanting to, before I did this video, it's like they're getting younger and younger, wanting to turn to a life of crime, and it's like these, it's like they don't care about living, their lives, what's going to happen to them in the future. They're actually all about wanting to make a name for themselves now. And see, that's the part really that troubles me. And I'm sure that it would trouble you if you actually are, a reasonable thinking human being. But, we actually, sometimes, want to go back to the too often question, why is this happening? What is the reason behind this? Why are our youth wanting to turn to crime and wanting to do all of these different things to people, for really no apparent reason? And the thing about it, depending on who you talk to, depending on what's going on, what type of resources are available to you in your area, these type of things, a lot of people come up with different type of issues and solutions or reasonings as to why our youth is really out of control. And for the most part, they come up with different theories, and that sort of thing. And, I'm not going to sit here and, say that what you see on your screen here as far as the theories is a lie or, that sort of thing. Because, again, depression, mental illness, pressures of society, wanting attention, all of these type of things are indeed factors, I believe, that are somehow related to, or the cause as to the reason why our youth are behaving the way that they are behaving. But the thing about it, again, is that there has to be a bit more to it. And see, when folks actually listen, or the ones who I deal with or who know me somewhat, know that I'm not going to just go the common and safe route when as far as diagnosing and doing this other type of thing. Now, like I say, when I say diagnose, I'm not saying that I am a licensed or clinical professional. It's just that when I actually speak and, speak in terms of what I believe. And like I said, you don't have to agree. I'm not asking for you to agree with me. I'm just wanting for you to hear me out, for those who actually choose to want to listen to my video. But again, going back to this thing here, it has to be more to this whole thing. There has to be a lot other, reasons as to why children are behaving the way they behave. And and the thing about it is that our leaders, and those in our civic communities, teachers, governments, all of these people who are in influential places in society wants to sit there and actually point the finger in so many different directions. It's like they want to sit there and blame, many different reasons, as far as, our youth and why they're behaving the way that they behave. And the thing about it again is that, with all of the finger pointing that's going around, for the most part, it's like, okay, you're still not zeroing in, at least in my opinion, as to the reason why we actually have so many youth, so many people that are, that are doing these things. And the fact about it is that, again, we have a right to get angry. We really do. We have a right to really want to know and get to the bottom of what's going on. And the sad part about it is that, we may think that what we know is going on, but the thing about it again is what we think we know, we really don't really, I guess, know too much. And the thing about it again is what we do is that we would like to point the finger at the most common thing, to try to, I guess, let out our frustrations, But like I say, with me, I like to dig a bit deeper and, and go a little bit more in depth and everything like this. So basically, from a societal standpoint, we feel angry, and we have a right to feel angry. Because again, we did not raise our youth to behave like animals. Let's just be real. And the sad part about it again is that, you can actually, do things or actually want to, think that you're doing everything right. But again, there's no guarantee, again, that what your desired result, what you would like for our children to be, that's what's going to be their choice. Again, we all, raise our children to be productive, contributed type of people to society, at least I hope, so they can go back and go out in society and really, represent their communities and make the communities, not only the communities, but the parents proud. What I mean? But again, everybody is angry right now. So what I want to do, again, is just go a little bit deeper and let's just talk about this anger thing for a moment. When we say anger, what does that mean? Well, with everybody that is angry and, the youth are going out and committing crimes because of various things or whatever the case may be, it all stems down to one element. And if you think about it and kind of follow me for a moment, you would kind of see where I'm going with this. What I'm talking about is anger. Everything is going on. The youth are going crazy, and the thing about it is that their behaviors and their actions are actually making parents angry. They're making teachers angry. They're making, our local mayors, our, people who run the counties and everything. They're angry because now, we are in a crisis right now. But the thing about it again is that with anger, it's okay to be angry. As I define here, as you see on the slide here, is like anger is a raw, natural emotion that we feel when we are prompted to react to an unfavorable situation. So pretty much what that means to me is that, again, we're expressing, how we feel about a situation here that is not good. And that's pretty much all that it means. That's what we mean, or that's what I mean when I say that we're defining what anger really is, and pretty much and what it means, and pretty much how we, execute this type of emotion, if you will. And the thing about it, the common element, if you will, is that when we're angry, we want to, point the blame, because we want somebody to kind of figure this thing out to really, remedy this thing. What's going on? We need a solution. So basically, if you go back to the picture again, you'll actually see what I'm talking about. Almost every picture on there, you're angry, which is you're right. But guess what? For the most part, most of the pictures that you see here, somebody is pointing the finger. Because now, guess what? We want solutions. Okay, we've already discovered that our youth is out of control, but now we want solutions. We want to figure out what's going on. And for the most part, and like I say, and when we're angry, for the most part, there's a lot of things that we do, that we shouldn't do. And the thing about it, again, one of the most natural things that we do, of course, is that we tend to blame other people, for the most part. It's your fault, not mine. I did everything right, but yet still this, that, and the other. You know how it goes, because we're human. The next thing that we do, we, don't want to listen to reason. what's really going on, what's really the causes of our uncontrolled youth, what's really going on to make them behave like animals. Because again, I'm just going to put it out on the line. That's how they're behaving. They don't want to listen, they don't want to talk, they just want to do they want attention. And they're going to do anything they can to get it, even if it means going to jail for the rest of their lives or possibly losing their lives in the process. And the last part here is that, nothing else matters but how we feel at the moment. So basically, everything doesn't really matter now. It's all about what I want and pretty much, what's going to happen so it can satisfy me. For the most part, that's pretty much what we mean when, we're expressing anger. And again, it's nothing wrong with being angry again, but, we have to get to the biology of what it really means so we can really see how this thing is executed in our response to what's going on to our troubled youth. But I want to kind of switch gears for a moment, just to kind of, get a little bit more, kind of ruffle the feathers a little bit. Let's get a little bit uncomfortable. Okay. Because again, folks who listen to my video, like I say, I always like to start off, of course, with the issues and everything for the most part, just barely skimming the surface, if you will. But for the most part, at some point in the video, I have to get real because I feel that I'm not doing any of my listeners any service for sitting up there wanting to pacify a situation. And anybody who actually listens to my videos and everything pretty much knows that, at some point in time, the gloves are going to come off. Because the issue is that if I'm just barely skimming the surface and just trying to talk like a psychologist and all of this, that, and the other, I'm not really getting to the heart. At least I feel I'm not getting to the root issues and the reasons why we have a troubled society that is being troubled and being, I would say, handled by our youth in negative ways. Okay, so basically, again, we've already to see here that we have a troubled youth right now that is out of control. That's the cause, or that's the effect. But the thing about it is there has to be a reason why, these type of things is going on. Okay, again, this is like what I would like to call the cause and effect type of issue or type of area in my video. And the thing about it again is that, I want to really sit down and really just be real with you guys. Because again, we have to come to terms with some things, and the sad part about it again is that when you actually take the time out to really study the behaviors of young people. And the thing about it again, and I'm not saying just study them for a day or everything like this, but I'm talking about just trying to sit down and study them for a period of time. And when I say a period of time, I'm talking about months, years maybe, and just kind of study them to try to see how they behave. You will actually learn a lot about, what's going on as far as their intellect, as far as, what's going on with them, psychologically, how they're feeling on the inside, how do they choose to deal with the emotions that, that they're dealing with. And the sad part about it again is that, when you're actually studying our youth, a lot of our youth actually come from what I would call troubled households. And the sad part about it again is that I'm not saying this to, to be funny or whatever the case may be, but the issues is that, I believe, and I will always believe, is that what's actually taught and prohibited, or actually, I would say that's actually excused and everything else in the household, that behavior is going to be brought out to society. That's why, when you're talking about the operations inside the home, it's very important because one thing about it, again, is that you cannot build a strong society, which will build a strong church. You can't build these things when you are actually on troubled ground. And the sad part about it is that, parenting these days is just not what it used to be, at least in my generation when I grew up. I'm a 70s kid. I was born in the 70s, and even earlier eras than that. You can actually see, again, that there is a major shift in child rearing as far as how the children are being brought up these days. And the sad part about it, again, is that, I've done videos in the past where I, talked about things like that and I kind of went in a little bit, but the issue is that, you cannot deny what you are experiencing. That's one thing about it, is that what is taught in the home, what's allowed to go into the home, the little, the things that we may consider not to be a big deal, they actually are a really big deal. And I believe in spirits. Everything that's in your house has a spirit. Folks may look at me and say, oh, you're crazy, you don't know what you're talking about, that doesn't make any sense. Yeah, it really does. Everything in your house, it has a spirit, meaning that it represents something. And the thing about it again is that in my home, I try to, I have, a lot of things in my house. I have like, little whatnots and stuff on the shelves and stuff, but I try to keep my house, in a perfect state of peace, if you will. I have like little pictures and little, whatnots of angels and, that sort of thing. Nothing too over the top. But, I just want to make an appearance that to let someone who I may invite into my home know that, okay, you're coming into a place where there is peace. And I want peace to stay in my house. Meaning that I don't want anybody coming in my house who actually likes drama. I don't like anybody coming into my house who likes to steal and all these other type of things. I'm not saying that my home is the most perfect house, but this is a place where I have to lay my head at night to get away from the frustrations of what's going on in a troubled society. So the issue is that, and I'm not saying that, everybody that comes in my house has to be totally pure. Like I said, I've had people in my home, like I say, that I invite over that, I may have talked to that, that may be from, I would say not the most peaceful people. The issue is that, I'm willing to deal with anybody, whoever God allows to cross my path. But the issue is that as far as just generally speaking on the surface, I don't invite those type of things in my house. And the thing about it again is that when you invite evil and then you sit in your house and you entertain that, that's pretty much where we're starting to see the rise of a rebellious generation. And folks need to understand that. The issue is that for the most part, a lot of these young children that are committing these crimes are coming from a home where the parents may not even want to see about their children. They leave a television screen to raise their children. Anytime they want parental, guidance or whatever, the parents are nowhere to be found. Because number one, the parents were maybe way too young to have children when they had them, and they still have not actually matured to the point, hey, you know what? I need to let go of that lifestyle. I'm a parent now. God gave these children to me. I have to raise them according to his will and his way. These days, we don't see that in the household anymore. We don't see any of that in the household. The only thing we see in the household is that you have a lot of the parents that are competing with their children to either get a boyfriend or a man, or, to sleep around with women or whatever the case may be in the case of a father and son. The thing about it is like a competition. And nowhere in the Bible did it tell the parent that they have to compete with their children. But yet still, that's what we're dealing with. That's what we're seeing. And that's pretty much really a troubling thing to do. The thing about it again is that God gave the parent authority to rule that child according to the precepts of the Bible. And nothing else. But again, what we're seeing here again is that shift where the parent is wanting to be the friend, meaning that, okay, anything that the child wants, the parent is going to get. Why? Because they don't want the child to suffer, as they say, as they did. Or go without, if you will. I cannot tell you how many times I've had people in my church, and it cringes. I don't say anything, but it cringes when I hear these type of things, where they're actually able, even if you can afford these type of things, that doesn't mean that you have to always go out and get it just because they want. Because the issue is that you're raising a monster. Someone needs to hear this. And the thing about it again is that when you give them anything and everything that they ask for, you're teaching them that that's the way that the world is going to be. Anything they want, you can just go out and ask for it, then they're going to give it to you. And the sad part about it again is that when these children grow up and they make it out to the real world and they begin to have to handle rejection and all these other type of things where things don't go their way, next thing you know, they want to get there and get mad and take somebody out. All because mommy and daddy taught me that anything that I want, I'm supposed to get. It troubles me and it really sickens me when I actually see these type of things. And the sad part about it is that when I'm a witness to parents that do this, it troubles my stomach. It makes my heart drop into my waistline of my pants, if you will. Because you're raising the next generation of mass shooters, people who wanted to go and cause trouble in societies and all this other type of stuff because you did not do what God called you to do in the home today. So since you did not do what God called you to do in your home today regarding the rearing of your child, you're creating a monster for someone else to have to deal with tomorrow. This is very serious, folks. And when I get on the YouTube here and I talk about these things, I want folks to understand where I'm coming from. I don't get on here and do videos just for the sake of wanting to do a video after video after video to kind of maintain or build an audience, because I look at it this way. When you put information out there that is informative, that is informational, and that is pleasing to the Lord God, and that is going to maybe hopefully deliver someone, that's all that matters to me. Even if I get one view on here where somebody can understand and it makes a change in someone's household, I've done my job. I've done my job. But the thing about it again is going back, and I don't want to get too far off of what I'm talking about here, is that we got to be careful about what's going on in the home, because again, what's going on in the home is a direct reflection of what our children are going to do and how they're going to behave in society. The parents need to stop wanting to be the child's friend and be the adult, the parent. And again, I've talked about this as well in a video that I've done, like I say, on my YouTube channel. And the thing about it again is that I don't take these videos down. Almost every video that I do, I want to keep it there unless, YouTube comes up with something and they take it down. Other than that, I don't have any plans on taking the video down, because it's there. It's for anybody who wants to look at it, review it, take notes, or whatever the case may be. Because it's all about helping. It's all about wanting to contribute to a productive society, wanting to see the good and the good in folks. But again, we have to really we really have to understand something here, is that everything has rule and order. And anytime you don't actually go or operate according to that rule or that rule, then guess what? Everything is going to be in disorder. If you don't understand what I'm saying, is that if you don't follow the plan, the home suffers and society as well. What folks don't understand is that it is necessary to address the elephant in the room. This has to be addressed. Everybody is so caught up with drama, with reality TV, who is sleeping with who has the biggest, and all this, that, and the other. And it's like, okay, everybody's dancing around the issue, but nobody is talking about what is really going on that could possibly cause this stuff to maybe cease, or maybe not completely cease, but drastically change for the better. And I blame really a lot of it on the parenting tactics that's going on in these days. I really do. I blame it on them, because the issue is that if you have a parent, and that's not to say that every parent that is going to bring their child up in the ways of the godly way, I'm not saying that they're going to automatically turn out to be good people, but the issue is that when you follow the plan, God is going to actually ensure that what he has and what his plans are for that individual is going to come to pass, and for that home. He says that he wants to save the whole household, but he can't save the whole household when the parents are actually straying away from the word when it comes to the rearing of children. Nobody wants to be seen as being mean and this, that, and the other. Look, let me tell you something about my household when I was growing up. And when I was, my parents were raising me. I used to think that my parents were mean, and strict and everything like that. And the thing about it again is that, in the neighborhoods, all the other children would be out playing, but there would be certain things that my parents would not allow me and my other siblings to engage in, because they were like, no, you're not going to do that. You will not behave. You will not be partaking in that. And the thing about it again is that, of course, my older brother, he, always got to have one and always want to break the rules and stuff. But, he would be determined to do what the other children are doing and would sneak around and go and do it behind my parents' back. And the next thing parents would find out, and, he would be disciplined. But for the most part, there's a lot of things that, my parents would not allow, or if they allowed it, they would actually be in and actually supervise what's going on, because, again, they knew that, okay, at any moment something can go wrong. And I really thank them for that, even though I really did not look at it or think about it that way when I was coming up, because I thought that, okay, you know what, you just want me to stay in the house up under you all the time, and I won't have a life. But as I got older and older and realized that what they were doing is God's will according to me, I was like, thank you. You know what I mean? I thank you for, being strict. I thank you for not always, wanting me, you're pushing me to always, keep my head in the book, studying and everything like that. I thank you for always supporting me, when I make the right choices. And even when I make the wrong one, you would still discipline me, but you would let me know the reason why. And even though it didn't feel good at the time, when you think back on these things, you just look, it made me into the person that I am now. So I can understand that what they did. And now I'm having to look at this and turn around and try to steer and do the same thing that my parents did to me, to other young folks, to try to get them to look, hey, don't do that. Because if you do that or engage in that, this is what's going to happen down the road. But like I said, we're dealing with a dangerous generation now where parents also are afraid of their children. They tell them no, they're afraid of what the child may do to them. It's ridiculous and it's scary. But it all goes back to the fact that the rearing of children is not being done according to what the Bible says. And any time you deviate from the word of God in any way, shape, or form, it doesn't matter what area in life you're talking about, you should expect problems. There's gonna be problems. Why? Because you didn't do it the way God said. It doesn't matter if you're doing something just for the sake of bringing peace. The thing about it, God says, look, my word comes. He said, I come to set mother against daughter, sister against brother, and this, that, and the other. He said, I'm the reason why you're seeing this. Why? Because there's a fight between good and evil. They cannot dwell in the same place, is what I'm saying, people. So when you introduce the word of God into an area that really does not want God there, you're going to expect to see some backlash. But even in that, God says he never told us to fold down to pressure. He never told us to give in to a sinful behavior or sinful act. He never told us that. He always told us to stay true and always stay rooted in that word. So when it comes, you'll still be able to give it that word, even though it may not want it. Guess what? You're doing what God told you to do. And in the end, when you keep doing that, you'll see a change. I believe sometimes, again, that, the change that we see may not be the one that we may want, but it would possibly be the one that could save a life. Sometimes, God answers us, and the thing about it is that he may not answer us in a way that would put a smile on our face as far as our youth is concerned. And one of the main things that we deal with these days as far as our young people is that they're very disrespectful. Highly disrespectful. They have no cover for their mouths. They use four-letter words like it's just part of their everyday language. They even talk this filthy trash in front of elderly. And the thing about it, again, is that they do it and then they laugh and look at them while they're doing it as if it is a joke. But yet still, society is wondering why they're leaving us so soon. It wasn't their time to go yet. The issue is that they had a long life to live. I'm pretty sure they did. But one thing about it, the Bible never deviates from what it says when it comes to children and how disrespectful. They shorten their days when they're disobedient. And my God, every day that I turn on the TV in my area, it's like you're afraid to look at the news because next thing you know, somebody's gotten shot in a drive-by. Somebody's gotten, hospitalized over some dumb argument, over something that is just so juvenile. And I can say that is not God's will concerning his youth. He loves the youth because they're so energetic. They can get things done. They have the energy that can bring souls in. But the issue is they choose to serve the world rather than being obedient to God. So we're now dealing with, we are dealing with an issue here. We have a bunch of rebellious children who have run amok and who are out of control. And it seems like the only way that they can be tamed, or society's way of taming them, is to take them out. The thing about it is that there is a solution to every problem. Yes, there is. And even though we may say that it's wrong, that it's unfair, Bobby Joe or Billy or Ernest or whoever it is, or, whoever his name is a good person. They, just happen to make bad choices. That could very well be. But you cannot tell me that somebody did not take the time out to pull them aside to try to steer them the right way. You cannot tell me that never didn't happen in their life. Because even though I may not know them personally, I'm pretty sure that at some point in time, all of these children who are wayward tried to have someone tried to reach them to let them know that what you're doing is wrong. And if you keep carrying on like this, you're going to be either dead or in jail. You cannot tell me that has not happened. But the issue is that these things come when the truth has come through and you reject it and look at it and scoff at it and, take it lightly. But like I say, I think, like I said, that is going to be it for now on this video, for the most part, because again, I can go on and on with this, but for those who listen to my video, you can get the gist of what I'm saying. You can understand where I'm going from or coming from and where I could possibly keep going to. So I don't want to actually keep going on with this, but just take the time to just understand something. You have to address what's not popular in order to see a change. It doesn't even have to be a big change. As long as you can see some sort of, positivity in here that would actually direct someone who's about to act out to sit down and think rationally to say, you know what? I need to change my ways. I need to consider my ways. This is not the way to go. That means that I've done my job. All right, folks. That's all that I have for now. Peace out, and you all have a blessed day.